Hi, my name is Robyn Love. I am a certified yoga therapist and the founder of the Atha Yoga School. I'm also a longtime student of Zen Buddhism, particularly as it's practiced in the Mountains and Rivers order of Zen Buddhism. My teacher there is Jeffrey Shugen Arnold Roshi. He's the abbot of Zen Mountain Monastery in upstate New York. Today I am coming to you in that role. So this is, it's called a rakusu. It's a symbol that I have formally taken vows to follow the Buddhist path, and in particular the precepts, sometimes called the moral and ethical teachings of the Buddha. And so this rakusu was hand stitched by me over the course of a week, along with 3 other students at the time, and ended in a ceremony, a public ceremony, where those vows were taken. Jukai, in fact, means to take vows or receive the vows. So today, in this role, I'm creating this video called Beginning Zazen Instructions for Yoga Students, and it comes out of a conversation that I had with Carrie Heeter. Carrie Heeter is the founder of Yoga Mind Tools. She also wrote a book called An Inside Look at Meditation. And she is the host of a podcast called Meditation Conversations. And it was in this, an episode of that podcast where she was asking me about meditation from the Zen Buddhist perspective, and how is it the same or different from how we learn about meditation in yoga, in particular, the Viniyoga tradition, that she then encouraged me to create a short video practice that would teach students of Viniyoga how to have an experience of Zen meditation, such as it is taught, and to a beginner in the Mountain and Rivers order. So just to know that when someone shows up at the door of either Zen Mountain Monastery or the Fire Lotus Temple in Brooklyn, they are given what's called beginning instruction, and it's assumed that if they come back, they will continue this meditation technique sort of until further notice. So it's not intended as a one-off experience, but really something that then they will take home and do at home, or anytime they come back, this is what they'll do if they're going to join, say, morning or evening or Sunday meditation. And if they keep going, eventually they'll have a private one-on-one face-to-face teaching with the teacher, who would eventually perhaps expand upon this teaching. So this is something that you can do over and over and over. And even though I've been doing Zazen, as it's called, the seated meditation in Zen, for many years, a couple of decades, I return to this practice sometimes if I'm feeling particularly like I need to return to my roots. So in the podcast conversation, I said, as Buddhism left India and moved to China and ultimately to Japan, some of the aspects dropped away, and the new cultures absorbed, and so the focus, it became something new and different, the same as it has come to North America, where I am. But it hasn't completely disappeared. So I want to amend what I said in the podcast and say, so as we come into this experience of meditation, some of the things are there, they're just not emphasized quite in the same way. And part of that is preparation. I said, we no longer do any kind of moving or breathing. You basically arrive, sat on your cushion or seat, and expected to come right into the practice. But some of that preparation is still alive in the posture. So one thing to do as we move into the meditation is to be aware of your posture. So today I'm sitting on a chair. You could sit on the ground. If you're seated on the ground, have a cushion, something to support you. There are some traditional postures for seated meditation in Zazen. One it would be Padmasana, or full lotus, or half lotus. There's also a position called Burmese, where you sit and the feet, sort of ankles are like this, and so that the knees can rest on the ground. Or there's called Seiza, where you sit what we would call Vajrasana, a seated position where the shins rest on the ground, or you can sit in a chair. But the point being that you can sit in a way that is connected to the ground. We call this your mountain seat, or your diamond seat, or the seat of the Buddha being you. So you want to feel connected to the ground, and that you can sit upright so your breath can be free and unhindered. So the main thing is that you feel solid like a mountain, and that your spine can be nice and tall, yet neutral. So we're not trying to put our body in any way that's going to cause stress. So stira sukham, as we say in yoga. And that should be evident in our posture. So today I'm seated in a chair, and this chair has a back, but I'm not leaning back. I'm actually sitting upright. And you might want to you could put a cushion behind your back so you can continue that upright posture without too much effort. And we sit upright and our gaze shifts downward. So in yoga, often in a meditation, we're instructed we can close our eyes, but in Zen, we do not close our eyes during meditation. We shift the gaze downward. We let our eyes be relaxed. So we're not seeking information through our eyes, but we're not also cutting it off. We're not cutting off anything, in fact. So we're just shifting the gaze downward in front of us so that we limit what comes in, but we're not excluding visual information. That's an important point, this idea that we don't seek it out, but we don't also cut it off. So the eyes are relaxed and gaze is downward. Our breath is normal. We're not doing any special extension of the breath. And we rest our tongue just up at the roof of our mouth, right behind our teeth. And this actually just helps that we don't need to swallow a lot. So we're just trying to eliminate any internal distractions, physical distractions. We also hold our hands in a particular mudra. So the mudra that we use in Zen is that the right hand rests in our lap, and the left hand rests on top, and then the thumb tip meets. So you create a kind of oval with your hands. In this relaxed way, we rest our hands in our lap, holding that mudra. And the mudra can be a very skillful tool as you do your meditation. If your mind has drifted away, you might notice that the mudra has come apart, or maybe it has sunk. Maybe your oval has become more like a smile in your lap. That means maybe you are not giving quite enough effort and you need to keep the mudra a little more alert in your hand. You might also notice that at some point you are like bearing down and pressing hard with your thumbs. And that's a sign maybe ease up. Too much effort. So we are looking for that stira sukham in our posture and in our mudra and in our mind. So once you find your mountain seat, your diamond seat, your seat of the Buddha, find your mudra, and you have this alert, upright posture. Gaze is downward. Now the focus becomes your breath. But unlike yoga, we will not be extending the breath or doing anything fancy with the breath. We become aware of the breath. So as you inhale, preferably you're inhaling through your nose. Mentally, you just say, inhale 1. As you exhale, again, it's not a special exhale. You'll exhale 1. Inhale 2. Exhale 2. Inhale 3. Exhale 3. You see where I'm going with this. Inhale 4. Exhale 4. You're going to keep going, counting your breath to 10. When you reach inhale 10, exhale 10, start over at 1. Inhale, now 1. Like that. You keep going, counting the breath by counting the inhale and the exhale separately, but as part of the whole breath. So 1, 1, 2, 2, to 10, and then start over. What you will find is that you get distracted before you reach the number 10. And you start to think about other things. When you notice that you have gotten distracted and stopped counting, you return to 1 and counting again the breath. Inhale 1, exhale 1. It may also be that you forget to stop at 10. Maybe you've been good, you've counted your breath, but now you're at breath number 42. When you notice that you did that, you go back, start over at 1. So try that now. Inhale, find your mountain seat, find your mudra, eyes cast down, and simple counting of the breath. Hopefully that was enough time to get up to 10, or to notice that you got distracted before you got to 10. So I just want to say a few more things. One is, I think perhaps one thing you might notice instantly is that this is a very spare practice. In Viniyoga, we have an object of meditation, and we are very thoughtful and careful about choosing the object of our meditation to be appropriate for the individual, which means often there's a relationship that that person will have and with the object of their meditation, and we deliberately choose that. In the case of Zen, we don't work with it in the same way. This is a spare practice that's just yourself and your capacity to concentrate, so your dharana, and just this awareness. So we're really working with those last 3 limbs immediately. Dharana, dhyanam, samadhi. In fact, the word Zen comes, you could find the path from that word dhyanam to the word Zen. So there's not a lot to hold on to, and that's on purpose. There's sort of, as my teacher likes to say, there's nowhere to stand, and that's on purpose, which can be a bit off-putting at first. So really that is why we stick with the practice over a long period of time and develop our own relationship with it. The other thing I want to say, a couple other things. One is I've seen a beautiful drawing or sort of rendering of what the meditation process looks like. And it's a page with a line across the center, and then there's a line going up and down through that. And the idea being that the line through the center is your concentration. And then as you move through, maybe you're concentrating, and then your mind drifts maybe into some kind of activity. What am I going to have for lunch? What am I doing after this? Suddenly you're in planning mode, or thinking about, oh my God, I can't believe that person said that to me. When I get out of here, I'm going to be. So all that kind of stuff, that active mind maybe is above the line. And then you notice, oh, whoops, I forgot. I'm supposed to be counting my breath. Let me come back. 1. Exhale, 1, 2, and then as you go, maybe you start to get a little drowsy. It's like the rhythm of the breath has slowed down. Maybe your mind has slowed down, and now you're kind of drifting off into a kind of numbness or dullness, or even fall asleep. Okay. Maybe you wake up and realize, oh my gosh, I fell asleep. Let me go back. Inhale 1, exhale 1. So this is how it goes. And it's easy to think that the time you are doing the meditation is the time when you are actually connected to that center line. But in fact, doing the meditation is the whole page. It's the times when you get lost in your thoughts of activity, and it's the time when you get dull and fall asleep. The whole thing is doing the meditation. And the goal of the meditation is not that every single moment of the meditation period falls on the center line. The goal of the meditation is to have that moment of like, oh, I've drifted away and I'm coming back and coming back and coming back. So whether you come back once or you come back 100 or 100,000 times during one time of meditation, it doesn't matter. The thing is that you come back each time. So I think that's super important because we're not judging how much time we spend on the center line. We're really focused on noticing when we drift away and coming back. That's actually the practice. Developing concentration through noticing. So in what we would call svadhyaya practice, a self-study practice, is noticing the thought that took us away without getting caught up in it again. So what happens is over time, you might notice that it's kind of the same thought or same sort of category of thought that continually pulls you away. This is excellent information. This is svadhyaya practice. And so then if you notice like, oh, I have this recurring thought and it always pulls me away and I just can't let go of it. Okay, so now the instruction is spend a little time with that thought. Look at that thought. What is it about that thought that is so compelling to you? And then over time, we might notice that the thought that has been so compelling to us, when we really stop and look at it, we start to say like, is it that interesting? You know, after you realize you're having this basically the same thoughts millions of times, it's like, all right, maybe I can kind of set that aside for now and come back to my practice. Because we've sort of agreed that that's what we're doing now. And sometimes that's been super helpful for me when I have a thought that comes back and comes back and comes back. And I say like, okay, you're important. Thank you, thought, for arising. But right now, I said I would practice my meditation. So I'm going to promise I will come back to you, because guaranteed I will, but not right now. And I can just kind of very intentionally set that aside. Not push it aside, not suppress the thought. We're never doing that. But just sort of agreeing that your importance right now is not primary, and I will come back to you later. And that actually can be super helpful for sort of planning and that kind of stuff. So I think it's important to say, just kind of emphasize again that this is not about having no thoughts at all. It's actually having no hindrance to our thoughts. So we let them come and go freely. And there's all, you know, that beautiful metaphor of the waves on the ocean. So just knowing thoughts arise and pass back. Arise and so if we don't hinder them, which includes judging them, we just let them come and let them go. Come and go. Not getting caught, not push away, come and go. And that's included for any thought, any emotion. We watch it arise and we watch it fall away. So in this simple counting your breath, all of that is possible. And it takes a little work. So it's not to say that's the part, we don't also fall asleep or get dull. We have to stay alert. This is our mountain seat, our seat of the Buddha. The other thing I want to say is we are still in the meditation. So we're not shifting and moving. So when you have your mudra, this is the time when it's like you're committing to the meditation. And then if something comes up, for me, it's often a hair is now moving across my forehead in a way that feels distracting or itchy. And it'd be like, well, what's the big deal? I'm just going to go like that. But what I find is if I just go like that, then, now there's one on my cheek. Oh, but now my nose is itchy. Oh, but now I think I need to move my shoulders. Oh, but now my knee hurts. It never ends. It never ends. Hello, this is dukkha. It never ends. So when we have a feeling that we want to shift or move or scratch, this is our opportunity to create a new samskara that is not a reactive action in response to a very minor discomfort. So maybe I feel a hair lightly moving across my cheek. If I spend all my time and energy focused on it, that becomes gigantic. But if I just let it go and be like, okay, there's a sensation on my cheek. Inhale 1, exhale 1, inhale 2, exhale 2. Pretty soon, I don't know where that sensation went, but it's gone. This is creating a new samskara in relation to these pretty minor discomforts. And we don't have to be reactive. We can observe, acknowledge the sensation without needing to actually physically move to change. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. And this is a big potential with this practice, is to see that actually nothing is wrong. Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing's wrong with me. So with the time remaining, I invite you can hit pause and sit. Why don't we sit? I'm not going to time it on the in the meditation, but you can hit pause and sit for 15 minutes using the breath practice. Inhale 1, exhale 1, inhale 2, exhale 2, up to 10, and then come back. And your practice is to notice when you've drifted away, notice the thought that took you away, acknowledge the thought, and then let it go and come back. That's your practice. So let's start now. Okay, so I'm assuming if you have unpaused and you have finished, so just perhaps take a moment and just reflect on that experience. Maybe you had some times where you drifted away and came back, or maybe you got sleepy and had to sort of jolt a little bit back. How was your mudra? Did you have times where you wanted to shift or move? Were you able to not? And just notice it as sensation rather than an emergency to be fixed. All of that is the potential. And like I said, this is not considered to be a one-time experience. This is something now that you could do on a regular basis. And this, just as it's important in yoga that we know that the practices that we do go back thousands of years, and we are moving from a foundation that's based in the Yoga Sutra and to these amazing masters who came before us. This is likewise true in Zen. So this teaching that sounds so simple goes all the way back to the Buddha, moving through China and Japan and coming down to us through many, many accomplished masters. And so it is with great gratitude that we can hear and experience this teaching. So thank you for your practice. I hope you have a good experience, a meaningful experience. And I invite you to try it a few times, maybe over the course of a week, and see what happens. Thank you.